Hey guys, today I'll give you the comic book origins of the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier, or Bucky Barnes, has become one of the most notable faces in Marvel and one of the most popular assassins in comic books. But when we first saw Bucky in the MCU, we first saw him as the best friend to Captain America. Which was true. His origins basically start back in World War II when he was a fellow soldier working alongside Steve Rogers, and eventually becoming the sidekick to Captain America. But in 1945, close to the end of the war, he was presumed dead after failing to disarm a bomb that had gone off in a plane. Falling into the Atlantic and staying in a state of suspended animation, he had been found by a Russian submarine which had brought him on board, still frozen and missing an arm. When the Russians had believed that Bucky might have the super soldier serum inside him that Captain America had in World War II, they revived him and thawed him out. But when he came out of the animation, he had extreme amnesia and did not remember anything. When they discovered that Bucky didn't have the super soldier serum inside him, the Russians decided to put him back into stasis until they could figure out what to do with him. But in the 1950s, Russians continued to work on Bucky's body, even by making him a new arm. And they decided to use him as a hitman, which they would use against their enemies. It was in the Russian program X, where the Winter Soldier program selected Bucky as their test subject. While Bucky proved to be a formidable force in the Russians' armory, he was nonetheless uncontrollable and unstable. While his mind continued to fill in the gaps of his past, he had become uncontrollable, even going so far as to attack one of his fellow soldiers. But the Russians decided to do a brainwash after every mission so that he wouldn't lash out as much. They also decided to wipe his memory each time as well, and give him shock therapy, which was supposed to help, but probably just pissed him off a bit more. Anyway, Bucky continued to be their biggest weapon against their enemies, and would continue to be a formidable force until he would eventually split from the Russians. But after his last mission, when he failed to arrive at a rendezvous point after one of his missions, they tracked him down to where he was hiding, and they took him back to Russia with them. They decided to put him back into stasis again so that they could keep an eye on him until he was needed again. So when they unfroze him, he would have yet another mission. His abilities are pretty much the same on the same level as Captain America's, being hand-to-hand combat, extraordinary strength, since they gave him some of the super soldier serum. The serum increased his abilities such as strength and speed, and his accuracy with multiple weapons. When we saw Winter Soldier in the MCU, we saw him portrayed by Sebastian Stan, who first portrayed him in 2014's Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and we last saw him in 2018's Avengers: Infinity War, which is out on DVD now. That's it for Winter Soldier, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment what you think down below, and I'll come back tomorrow to give you more origins. See you guys.